Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever around the world you are. And it's great. I'm so happy that I'm on stage of Microsoft Zero to Hero again. This is Saidal, Microsoft MVP and community leader of Microsoft Zero to Hero. So it's really great. We've had planned to launch this session, kick off this session on Saturday. And based on some changes, some plan changes, we decided to move to Monday. So we are here on a stage again, and we are going to learn a lot of good things from our expert speaker. He was on our stage before, and we learned a lot from him. And now we have another opportunity to have him on this stage again. So let's kick off the session. As usual, I'm starting with my slides. So Hannes is today with us, and he's going to talk about very interesting topic. And I'm looking forward to learn from him again because I love when he is in the stage and talking about Microsoft technology. It's really lovely to hear and learn from him. So with that said, Microsoft Learn. So, as you know, Microsoft Learn is the greatest place that you can learn from Microsoft experts and also be able to learn more about Microsoft technology. So, Microsoft Learn community is a great place that you can be there. You can learn from experts if you have something to share. So, you can keep this circulation of the knowledge. And it's really great because you can imagine that you can have the latest updates, you can hear about Microsoft technology, learn from experts, and also beside that, receiving a lot of latest updates and news from Microsoft based on Microsoft technology. And beside that, we have a lot of Microsoft Learning Room that it's under Microsoft Learn community. And Microsoft Zero to Hero, it's one of those learning rooms and community under Microsoft Learn big community. So make sure that you register and join to Microsoft Learning Rooms, Microsoft Learning Rooms. And if you want to learn more about Microsoft Learn community, aka.ms/Microsoft Learn community, and if you want to join to one of those Microsoft Learning Rooms, aka.ms/Learning Rooms, it's a great place that you can find out which room is great for you. Beside that, if you would like to join, if you haven't joined to Microsoft Zero to Hero community, aka.ms/join Zero to Hero is the short link of Microsoft Zero to Hero community for you. As you know, 1st of July, we released a new show called Microsoft Backyard, and the first episode released, you can find it in our YouTube channel. And this show is only about the way that we think that we can inspire you in different ways, not technical, but you can learn about how you can be successful. You can hear from you can hear from Microsoft experts and employees, artists, and MVPs around the world that we invite them, and we have a short talk with them. It's like around 27-30 minutes of talk, and you can learn from them how they went through different challenges in their life. So make sure that you watch this episode of Microsoft Backyard, and soon we will plan to invite another expert that we have in our experts list, so you can enjoy another episode of Microsoft Backyard. So far we have had some sessions in Microsoft Zero to Hero. Today we have Hannes, and tomorrow we have Mehdad, and we continue this plan until end of July. And as you know, that we have planned 15th of July, we will release next calendar, which is related to August. So stay tuned, and if you haven't registered for other sessions, make sure that you have registered. You can easily find the link of the registration of all of these sessions in our LinkedIn page. So also you can join to Microsoft Learning Rooms, Microsoft Zero to Hero Learning Rooms, and we will share about those links in our community room as well. So code of conduct, we expect you to be aware of others, be friendly and patient, be welcoming and respectful, be open to all questions and viewpoints, be understanding of differences, and also be kind and considerate to others. With that said, I'm done with my slides and bring Hannes to the stage. Hello, man. Welcome back.
Hello.
Zero to your
Thank
stage.
you.
I'm so happy
Thank you.
that you are in this stage again. And today we are going to learn about an interesting topic from you. I'm
Yeah.
so excited about that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Really good.
Amazing. Before you start, what do you think about Microsoft Learn? Why Microsoft Learn is super important for
Mhm.
not only learners but also for experts?
So, as mentioned you before, so Microsoft Learn is for me the best place to learn or to get updates from Microsoft in case of security, in case of Asia, in case of Microsoft 365. So for me, it's the best point to get updates. And also when I think about in the past, so my career is starting with Microsoft Learn. So I starting a few years ago with cloud, and Microsoft Learn is for me the best place to get information, to get the knowledge what I have right now. And yeah, I think it's the best place to learn more, to connect, and also to get your at the end to get your certifications what you want to achieve. So it's the best place to learn.
Yeah, exactly. Very true. Perfect. Thank you so much for the answer. I don't want to take too much of this session because we are going to learn a lot from you. So, the stage is yours, and we are going to learn a lot of things from you, man.
Yeah. Okay. So the session from today is covering the topic SOAR, the keyword for success. Before we are starting, I want to give you a short introduction about me. So my name is Hannes or Johannes Lagler-Gruener. I am a lead cloud architect in Austria. So I'm working, I guess now 12 years with cloud technologies in different areas. You can see I have a lot of certifications in different topics. I have a solution architect. I have also the security engineering. I also have network engineering. So I have a broad knowledge in cloud architecture. My deep dive is going to security and network. That's the reason why I also have since 3 years right now an MVP. I'm an MVP since 3 years and also specified into network and security and also into security and as well infrastructure as code. What you can see, I also have other certifications on other hyperscalers. For me, it's really important to have this because to have and also a broader knowledge about other technologies, but my deep knowledge or my deep dive knowledge is based on Microsoft Asia. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on my private blog called cloudblogger.it. You can find me as well on LinkedIn, X, also on GitHub. I have a lot of repositories where you can find source codes, infrastructures, code solutions, and so on. Okay, so enough from me. Let's go ahead and talk about the session from today. SOAR, the keyword for success. So we have, from the agenda perspective, we have 4 topics. We have the first topics are the 4 main capabilities from Microsoft Sentinel. Then we are going ahead and talking about XDR, automation investigation versus Sentinel SOAR. Then we are going deep dive into the security orchestration, automation, and response in Microsoft Sentinel. And at the end, you will also get an overview about the pricing from the pricing perspective, what the cost behind the automation, the SOAR components from Microsoft Sentinel. These 4 topics also covering a lot of live demos. So keep in mind, all demos what I've present you are really live. So this is my demo and lab environment. I will try to explain it also in a live coding session to show you how simple is it to implement an automation or a playbook in Microsoft Sentinel. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the first topic. What are the 4 main capabilities for Microsoft Sentinel? So the first one is collect. It's really important when you're going to a project and think about, I want to implement Microsoft Sentinel in your environment, always think about collect based on your use cases. So when we are going to a project, we always think about what are the use cases. Based on the use cases, we are defining the data, we are defining the data sources. Detect threads and predefined custom threads with predefined and custom rules. So you have a lot of predefined rules from Microsoft, from the community, from third party, and also you have the ability to create your custom rules. Investigate artificial intelligence. So Microsoft Security Copilot, another session from my side, is really important when it comes to security, when it comes to security investigation. It's really, really important to have artificial intelligence by your side. And at the end, respond. And respond is the topic from today. So when we are talking about SOAR, we are always in the section of respond. And respond rapidly could have a lot of impact in your success when it comes to find incidents, resolve incidents in your environment. So it's really important to have response rapidly to identify, analyze, and for sure quarantine and block compromised, for example, devices or users automatically. So think about from the response perspective, when we are talking about Microsoft Sentinel or a CM solution, we're always starting with collect, detect, investigate. The SOAR component or the response component is in the most cases the last project topic what you want to implement, but it's really important. The reason for that is really simple. Think about your environment. How many incidents do you have? You have a lot of incidents. When you connect more and more data, when you connect, for example, Microsoft Defender XDR, you have a lot of incidents. You have a lot of incidents from that systems. And think about how long does it take to resolve the incident. Do you really think you have enough resources for all incidents? And the answer is in most cases, no. So it really takes a lot of time to analyze and also to find some matches in other systems. And that's the point where SOAR can help you. So it improves your SOC productivity. So normally, the most common incidents will be automatically closed or will be automatically resolved. You and your SOC investigation or your SOC team can keep on focus on really threats that matter your security investigation. It makes easier to improve your SOC operations efficiency and also improves your cybersecurity posture. This is really, really important. And when we think about artificial intelligence, it's also really important. Normally you get an overview about your incidents. You have your data in your environment and you have an incident including the entities. But when it comes to enrich your incident, you can use, for example, artificial intelligence, Security Copilot, to automatically enrich your incident, to enrich your incident information inside Microsoft Sentinel. And this is really, really important to understand and to know. You can use SOAR, you can use response to enrich also your incidents to get a better overview about what happens in your environment. So we are talking about response, we are talking about SOAR. And Microsoft always brings new functionality in the cloud, into the security stack. And at the moment, we have two options what we can use. So the new way is the XDR Automated Investigation, EIR. This is the new topic what is included in the Defender XDR stack. And it's used for predefined XDR response and investigation. you can create custom XDR investigations in Microsoft Defender XDR. But, and this is the hugest difference between Sentinel SOAR and XDR, it's always focusing on automation and investigation in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So what you can do here, you can analyze your Microsoft Defender for Identity, Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, and also have the ability to automate some incidents or some some incidents inside Microsoft Defender XDR. Besides, you have the ability to use Microsoft Sentinel SOAR. It's a bit different. So in this case, you have to define automation playbooks. You can use playbooks, predefined playbooks from the community, from Microsoft, or from third party. You can for sure create your own playbooks. And that's the important part here. It's across your solution. So it's not focusing on Microsoft 365. It's focusing on all data sources, what you have included in your environment. You can connect to other APIs. You have the ability to connect to, for example, ServiceNow environment or other ticket systems and create a ticket on there. You can also go ahead and isolate devices in Microsoft Defender for Endpoint if you want. With the SOAR topic, you also have the ability to use this with Microsoft Defender XDR. And the important part here is you have different trigger types. And today we are focusing really on the Defender, on Microsoft Sentinel SOAR, not on the XDR stack. So we are focusing exactly on Microsoft Defender SOAR, what you can do, what different trigger types do you have, and also what options can you use to automate your incidents, to close it, and also to enrich it. Okay, so let's go ahead. Sentinel orchestration, automation, and response in Microsoft Sentinel. So here we have two different options. The first option what we can use is Microsoft Sentinel automation rules. And automation rules is new. So when we are starting with Microsoft Sentinel, we don't have the ability to use automation rules. I will cover this in a few minutes. We have different trigger types, but now we can use automation rules. And you can see here on the screenshot, how does Microsoft Sentinel handle the SOAR playbooks or the automation in the past. You can see you have a new incident in Microsoft Sentinel, and the Sentinel incident is triggering automatically a playbook, and the playbook at the end is a logic app. So the communication is directly. What we have right now is we have an incident, and in between of the Sentinel incident and the playbook, there's the automation rule. And with the automation rule, you have different options, but you can implement automatically inside Microsoft Sentinel, and you don't have to do this over a playbook. For example, what you can do is you can define different actions. For example, change the status for the incident from new to open, from new to active, or you can also change the severity. You can assign the incident to another person, but we will cover this in the demo in a few minutes. So when we are going to Microsoft Sentinel automation rules, it always have the following components. The first thing is always the trigger. So we have here 3 different trigger types. I will show you the trigger types in a few seconds in the first demo. Then we have the condition. Condition always covering, okay, what kind of incident is coming. So is this an incident from Microsoft Defender XDR, or is it from a custom rule, or is it whatever? And at the end, you always have an action, what you want to do with an automation rule. Do you want to change anything, or do you want to execute what you can see here in the screenshot above, in the bottom, execute a playbook. So that's Microsoft Sentinel automation rules. So this is new. This is the new functionality here, and it's really important to understand and also to use Microsoft Sentinel automation rule. And the reason for that, I will show you right now in the first live demo. The first live demo, you will get an overview about the possibilities what you have with automation rules. And also we implement the first analytics rule, or implement the first analytics rule and automation rule based on a custom analytics rule. Okay, so I'm now here in my demo environment. What you can see here is the Microsoft Azure portal, and you can see here I have deployed one Sentinel solution. Sentinel solution is in West Europe, and when I go inside my Sentinel solution, you can see here I have some data connectors available. I have here some data inside my Microsoft Sentinel. You can see here I have here different data connectors connected in my environment. Microsoft 365, Defender XDR, and so on and so on. The important part from today is normally we are implementing analytics rules. So the first is we are thinking about use cases. What's my use case? What I want to achieve in Microsoft Sentinel. Based on the use cases, I will go ahead and define my data connectors, where the data coming from. And then I go ahead and define my analytics rules, or I'm using analytics rules which is coming that are coming from the community from Microsoft, including into the data connectors or including into the solution. And at the end, we are going ahead and talking about automation. And you can see here on the left, the topic, automation. And exactly here is the option what you have. The first thing, automation rules. You can see here I have one automation rule in place. The status at the moment is disabled. And now we are creating a new one.
Sorry, Hannes, sorry I interrupted you, but I believe you shared only the slides, so we can only see your slides.
Oh my God.
No worries, no worries.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, that's my fault.
No worries.
Okay. I think you can
Perfect.
see it. Okay.
Now we can see everything.
So once more, you can see here on the left side the automation topic, and it's really important when it comes to SOAR. And here you can see I have my first automation rule in place. At the moment it's disabled, so here you can see. What we are doing right now is we are create a new one. We create a new automation rule, and here you have only one option when it comes to automation rule: create a new rule. And the thing what we have here is the first one is the name from the automation rule. This is the name, and then we have three options. We have a trigger, we have a condition, and we have the action what it has to execute when the trigger and the condition match. The first one is the trigger. So we have here three different trigger types. The first is when an incident is created. The second is when an incident is updated, and the third is when an alert is created. And it's really important to understand what's the difference between an incident and between an alert. An incident is when it comes to Microsoft Sentinel, you create an analytics rule, and you have to define inside analytics what's the result of the analytics rule. Is the result only an alert? So an alert is going to Microsoft Log Analytics, and you can see it inside my Log Analytics. You cannot do anything else with the alert. It's only inside Log Analytics. When it comes to an incident, you can see on the Microsoft Sentinel a separate incident. You can also see here your identities, your matching your connection to other data sources, for example. And that's the reason why we have here an incident and also an alert. I will also show you in a few minutes when it comes to an incident, where you can see the incident data and where you can see the alert data. Okay, so we are going ahead and want to execute the automation rule when an incident is created. It's also really interesting when you have a new incident and, for example, you assign the incident to another user, then you can also implement this trigger type when an incident is updated. For example, you update your owner of the incident, and you also want to send an email to another user or make, for example, a separate ticket or an update inside your ticket system. But in this case, we want to create an analytics rule based when an incident is created. Then we can go ahead and define the conditions. Normally, we have here an incident provider, and depending on your data sources, which are included or which are connected in your environment, you have two options. Microsoft Sentinel. Microsoft Sentinel represents all rules, all analytics rules in Microsoft Sentinel. This covering all custom rules, it's covering all Microsoft rules, predefined rules, it's covering all third-party rules. Or when you are connecting Microsoft Defender XDR, we can select here Microsoft Defender XDR. This represents the connector for Microsoft Defender XDR. Then you can go ahead and select your analytics rules. Based on your environment, you have here different analytics rules, and that's exactly your custom analytics rules which are implemented in Microsoft Sentinel. You can select, for example, when an analytics rule at Azure Active Directory first attempt, application service principal, and so on and so on. In my case, I want to execute the automation rule for all my incidents, so it does not exclude any analytics rules, any incidents. When any incident is created, the analytics rule or the automation rule will be starting. And then you can go ahead and define, from the condition perspective, you also have another option. You can define an and or an or. And here you have the ability to go inside to the incident properties itself. And you also have the ability to go to the entity properties. For example, when the tenant ID is XYZ, then the automation rule should be started, for example. But in my case, it's okay to have a condition for all my incidents, and that's okay. So, and then you are defining your action. And normally we have 4 actions. We have 5 actions available, which is possible only with automation rules, and we don't need a playbook. We don't need a logic app, a separate logic app to achieve it. So the first thing that we can do is we can change the status from new, this is the normal state, this is the initial state when a new incident is created, to active. Active means, okay, it's assigned to a user and it's active, and the user is looking for the incident. Okay, let's change it, the status, to active. Then go ahead and assign it to an owner. Assign it to a user inside your Microsoft Enter ID. In this case, I want to assign this to my person. Assign it to me. Then we go ahead and use the severity, not the severity. No, it's not a good topic. Let's go ahead and add a separate tag. In this tag, I want to add the information that the automation rule demo is here. Running. Okay. And really interesting, you can also assign tasks. Task is really interesting when it comes to when it comes to an incident, and you have to define, or you have separate step what an analyst should have to implement or to do when the incident is popping up. For example, start to inform your, for example. You can define more actions, you can define a separate description, and so on and so on. And that's the base information what you have to implement when it comes to automation rule. You can also define an expiration for this rule. In my case, I don't want to implement an expiration, and an order, what's the ordering inside the automation rules. So that's perfect here, and I want to click on apply. Okay, now you can see on the right side the analytics rule is enabled, and it's enabled for all new incidents. I want to trigger a new incident. The reason, what I want to do is I want to use my class break admin. Normally, you don't have to use your class break admin. Or in my case, I want to use the class break admin. Oh my God. Okay, old converter, perfect. So to change the password. So the new password and click on save. Okay, so I'm now logged in with my class break admin, and in a few minutes I will get an incident inside Microsoft Sentinel. And the reason for that is I have an analytics rule, and the analytics rule will check every 5 or 10 minutes. Is there a login attempt available for the class break admin? And if yes, then it's creating an incident. And when it's an incident is created, the automation rule will be run, assign the incident to me, add a new tag, and also change the severity or change the status. So that's the first point what we have to do. What we can do with automation rules with SOAR is to implement automation rules. That's the first part here. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about playbooks. Let's talk about Sentinel playbooks. Is the next step. We are implementing automation rules, and in the automation rules we have the ability to use an action, and in this action we can execute a playbook. So a playbook is a set of procedures that you can run from Microsoft Sentinel, and a playbook at the end is a logic app. And if you're working with logic apps, you're knowing that logic apps is really huge. So you have a lot of connectors, you have a lot of different options, you have the ability to execute scripts, you have the ability to connect to Azure functions, to APIs, you have the ability to use Microsoft Security Copilot, and so on and so on. So this is a really huge ecosystem. It's not designed for Microsoft Sentinel only. It's designed to automate tasks or to automate workflows inside Microsoft Azure. And you have the ability to use logic apps. And to use logic apps, you have to implement triggers. And in this case, we have different trigger types. And what you can see here is we have the ability to use incident-based trigger. We have the ability to use entity-based trigger, and we have the ability to use alert-based trigger. But keep in mind, alert-based trigger is the oldest trigger type, and it's deprecated in March 2026. So I recommend to use always, when it comes to SOAR, when it comes to automation in Microsoft Sentinel, always use incident-based trigger or entity-based trigger. Do not use alert-based trigger. This is the oldest one, and it will also be deprecated in 2026. So the question here is, when should I use an incident-based trigger, and when should I use an entity-based trigger? What's the difference, and why should I use it? Okay, so incident-based trigger. It's the most common and the most recommended trigger when it comes to real automation. So an incident is triggered, and you want that the playbook is running automatically. You have to use an incident-based trigger. So the playbook receives the information from the incident in an object format. So you transfer the entities from your incident to your playbook, and at the end you can see at the playbook an object is a JSON object, and you can use that information and go ahead and for example, block the device or block the user, revoke the user session, and so on and so on. The execution for the playbooks is always over automation rules. So when we talk about incident-based trigger, you have the ability to automate the execution of the playbooks over automation rules. And it's for the most use cases, so I recommend to use this when you want to execute, when you, for example, send an email to your ticket system, or when you want to create a ticket in your ticket system. So really automatically. When we talk about entity-based trigger, here the biggest difference here is it's not automatically executed over automation rules. So the idea behind entity-based trigger is you have an incident, and the incident have normally entities. And for example, you have inside your entity IP address, you have an URL, you have a host, you have a file, a DNS or account name. And what you can do is, for example, when it comes to an account, you select the account from the incident and say, okay, I want to execute a playbook named, for example, and I will show this in a few seconds, my second demo, revoke the user session from the user, or reset the password, or block the user, block the device, and so on. And you can do this manually, or the analyst can do this manually and accept that entity and execute an entity-based trigger. That's the biggest difference between entity-based trigger and incident-based trigger. Okay, once more, when it comes to logic app, you can see here we have a huge option. We have a huge amount of different connectors available in logic app. Keep also in mind, this is from the pricing perspective really important. We have different connector types. We have the standard connector, we have the enterprise connector, and the difference between standard and enterprise connectors here defined. So the standard connectors are normally the default connectors to Microsoft 365, to SharePoint, to Salesforce, to Power BI, and so on. And when it comes to enterprise services like SAP, IBM MQ, and so on, that connectors are enterprise connectors and are different from the pricing perspective, what I will cover at the end of my session. Yeah, that's the difference between standard and enterprise connectors, and you have three different types at the moment, three different trigger types for Microsoft Sentinel. Okay, so enough from the theory. Let's go to the live demo. What I want to show you is an overview about playbooks, demonstrate the different playbook types, alert-based trigger, incident-based trigger, and entity-based trigger. And then at the end, I want to execute a sample from my side. So it's a huge playbook, which, for example, in this case, revoke the user session, and also with an approval option here. And then we can go ahead, if you have enough time, I have to look at the time, and also create a custom playbook, execute it, that have a look to the object, what is coming from, and so on and so on. Okay, so let's go to the live demo. What you can see here, I hope I have now an incident. No, it's not available at the moment. It will take some time, but it's okay for me. So we have here our automation rules. What you can see here is a second section, active playbooks. In my case, I have a lot of playbooks in place. Hopefully it's loading a little bit faster. Keep in mind, it's a live demo. Yeah. And here you can see we have a lot of playbooks in place. This is from type is a lot logic app. And here you can see the different trigger types. What you can see here, it's not initialized. So this means the playbook don't have a trigger available, or not don't have a trigger available at the moment. Then you can see here trigger type other. This is, for example, a scheduled trigger or other trigger which is not required or which is not used by Microsoft Sentinel. And here you can see we have an incident-based trigger and an entity-based trigger. And at the end, you can also see here we have an alert-based trigger. This is the oldest one. Okay, so what we can do here right now is we can go ahead and go to the analytics rule and say, hey, I want to change my incident inside the analytics rule. And what I want to do is I want to execute a playbook. Click on add an action, click here, run a playbook. And what you can see here now is only playbooks, only that playbooks that have an incident-based trigger in place. Hopefully it's loading a few minutes. And it's really important. You only see incident-based trigger. You don't see an entity-based trigger, and you don't see normally here other triggers. Okay. Yeah. So here you can see enrich incident, conditional access policies, and so on and so on. In my case, I don't want to add any of these playbooks, and I want to show you the option that you have. But you can see here, I only have here 5 playbooks. I don't have more playbooks in place from the section perspective or from the selection perspective. The reason for that is only incident-based triggers are available in this list. So when it comes to the incident itself, when it comes to the entity-based trigger, I hope I have here right now my incident. No, it's not available at the moment. Then go to the closed and use the last 30 days. And then you can see here, normally we should have here an emergency account. So this is the normal trigger. This is the normal incident which is popping up. And here you can see when we open the incident, we have here the ability to see the incident itself. So here you can see the incident. Here you can also see the entities which are available, the account name, the URL, the cloud application, the IP address, and so on. From this perspective, we can execute incident or entity-based trigger. Incident-based trigger, you can see here, incident action, run a playbook. And here you can see all incident-based trigger. So enrich incident, send an email, post incident to Teams, or what you have implemented in your environment. And that's exactly the triggers based on incident-based trigger. When it comes to the oldest one, to alert-based trigger, we have to leave the new experience. And the reason for that is in the old experience, you have here the ability to see the alerts. The alert will create an incident, but the alert is only available in log analytics. You cannot do more with alerts. You cannot see any entities and so on. And here you can see the alert. We have one alert. And when it comes to displays, few playbooks, you have here alert-based trigger. This is the oldest one. It's deprecated, so please do not use alert-based trigger. Always use incident or entity-based trigger. Okay, so what you can see here now is the incident. We have here once more the option to execute the incident-based trigger. And the incident-based trigger will take the whole incident and all entities and send the information to the playbook. Inside the playbook, you have all information. You have the account name, you have the URL, you have the cloud application, and you have the IP address. When it comes to specifying an automation, for example, I want to revoke the user session for exactly this user. And I will demonstrate this. So I have here my session open. String out. It's not this one. Where is it? Yeah. Here you can see. Oh, this is the old. This is the other one. Here you can see I'm logged in with my class break admin at demoacp.at. This is my class break admin, and this is exactly this user. And what I want to do right now is I want to revoke the user session exactly for this user. I will go here to run playbook. And when I execute this one here, you can see only entity-based trigger. Entity-based trigger from type account. And what you can do here right now is you can revoke the user session. So I will execute the trigger right now. And now the trigger is running. And here you can see when I click on refresh, it's running, but it's running. And the problem here, or not the problem, the task here is really interesting. So we are going right now inside the playbook, you can see here now, we are now in the logic app section. And here you can see the playbook is running. And what the playbook is doing right now, it's waiting. It's waiting for a response. So you can see here I have a Sentinel entity based trigger. And here you can see the entity type. And the entity type is based on account. We have now a lot of variables, blah, blah, blah. We have here an account. We are getting some information from Azure Active Directory. And when it comes to the section here right now, send an approval email. So let's think about your management. So you have, for example, an incident about your manager, your CEO, and you want to revoke your user session. Is it a good idea? From the security perspective, it's a good idea to revoke the user session, but from the reality, it's better to have an approval from another manager, for example, to revoke the user session because the user, we have a separate incident. And exactly this logic app is waiting for the approval. And what you can see right now here on the right side, I've got an email here, and the email says, okay, we have here the revoke user session option for exactly this user. Should we revoke the user session, please approve it or reject it. And in this case, now I'm approved the section. I have to confirm it. And hopefully the playbook is now running, executing, revoke the user session, and hopefully successfully. So now you can see the status is successful. And when it comes back to the user, it will take a few seconds. But normally, you have to re-log in. Yes, exactly. Now, the session is revoked. My user session from the Glassberg admin is revoked, and I have to re-sign in inside my environment because we have approved the session. We have to approve the revoke user session. And yeah, that's the option what you have here. This is only one sample. You have a huge amount of different options what you can use here with logic apps. Okay, and at the end you can also see here when it comes to the playbook, and here you can also see here the runs. The latest run was successfully executed, and in my case I also sent an email at the end, and the revoke user session for exactly this user was successfully executed. And hopefully we also have here in the activity logs and revoke user session was successfully. So what I always do is I will send an approval message and also add the status from the revoke user session. Is the revoke user session approved or rejected, and also add that information to the activity log, to the incident activity log itself. Okay. So let's go to Sentinel itself. We have now hopefully an incident open, a new incident. 24 hours. Yes, now it's open. So this is the newest incident. And what you can see here when we go to the incident itself, you can see here the status. No, this is not the newest one. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, this one here is the right one. So now we have executed an entity-based trigger. So we are revoking the user session. What I want to show you right now is the automation rule option what you have. And here you can go inside the incident. And what you can see here is the status is changed from new to active. It's assigned to me, so to my user. And we also add and tag. In this case, the rule is running. And at the end, we also add a task, a new task, and start inform your CISO. So this is covered by the automation rule. So this is not a process from a playbook. You can do this with a playbook if you want, but I will recommend use changes inside the incident itself. with automation rules, and when it comes to revoke a user session, for example, or to execute other tasks, use a playbook. Okay, so let's have a look to the time. We have 45 minutes. I have enough time. Okay, so let's go to the end. What you have seen is an overview about the entity-based trigger, incident-based trigger, alert-based trigger. I will also demonstrate the different trigger types. So in this case, an incident-based trigger and an entity-based trigger. The option what you have, alert-based, is deprecated. And the creation of a playbook, we don't have enough time to do this. But if you are interested, please contact me over LinkedIn or YouTube. I will give you an overview. Okay, so let's go to the last topic from today from the pricing perspective. So let's think about the automation. We have two different types of automation. The first is automation rules. And the good thing here, the good news here, automation rules are for free. So you don't have to calculate any additional costs. In Microsoft Sentinel, it's really important. Automation rules are totally for free. And I think it will be for free in a few months also. Okay, when it comes to playbooks, when it comes to logic apps, we have here once more different connector types. We have the standard connector. In my point of view, it will represent 99% of your tasks. But if you have some connectors to SAP or to IBM solutions, you have to think about enterprise connectors. And here you can see the different price. And yes, it's not, it's really, really cheap. So normally you would pay for a standard connector 0.000118 euro per run. So this means normally you have a logic app, and inside the logic app, you have different connectors. For example, initialize and variable, assign a variable, execute an API. These steps are separate connectors or separate actions. And in this case, you have to pay 0.000024 per execution. And for the different connector types, you have to pay, and also for the data retention. Keep in mind, when you're using a logic app, in the back end, you are using also a log analytics workspace where you can see the execution. Is it successfully executed? Do you have some problems in your workflow? And this is saved inside a log analytics workspace, and you have to pay 0.12 euro per gigabyte per month. You can decrease the retention time from 90 days to 30 days or to 7 days, what you prefer. But at the end, it's really cheap. So when it comes to bigger projects, I've implemented a lot of projects with many different playbooks. It's really, really cheap to implement, and I recommend use playbooks, use the automation to improve your SOC efficiency. That's really important. Okay, so at the end, a recap. SOAR, the keyword for success, it gives you the ability to improve your SOC productivity. It improves your cybersecurity posture, because you only think about threats that matter to you. It's split it into automation rules. Automation rules is for free. Automation rules can change your incidents, the status, the owner. You can also assign tasks, you can assign tags, and so on. And when it comes to execute other APIs, when it comes to block an account, revoke a user session, or send an information email, then you can go ahead and implement playbooks. Playbooks are based on logic apps. And always think about the different trigger types in automation rule, when an incident is created, when an incident is updated, or when an alert is created, and also different trigger types in Microsoft Sentinel. Always keep in mind, the alert-based trigger is deprecated. Always use incident-based trigger or entity-based trigger. So that's from my session. It's really huge. So we can talk about SOAR a lot of hours, a lot of more hours. I can show you a lot of other use cases, but we don't have enough time. Yeah, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to you, Said, for that can present my session here. So if you're interested into more, if you have some questions, please contact me on LinkedIn or send me an email or contact me over my blog. What do you prefer? Let's do it. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Hannes. Great as always, and we learned a lot. Combination of Logic Apps and Sentinel, it's huge. It's amazing, and you explain it very well, so people in the session can understand what is this power of the combination of these two services. And of course, there are more, but as you mentioned, we can talk about it hours and hours because it's
Yes.
huge, it's so flexible, and you can make a lot of things with only these two services. Of course, we have more flexibility to connect it to other things as well. So yeah, thank you so much. We have a question here from Kafka.
Yeah.
If we want the incident verb line to XDR M365, the prerequisite must be enable XDR data connector and relevant data must be collected from Sentinel, isn't it?
It depends. So it's the classical consulting answer. So if you want to use Defender investigation and automation, you don't have to connect it to Microsoft Sentinel. If you want to use playbooks, you have to connect Microsoft Defender XDR inside your system because you only can execute playbooks in Microsoft Sentinel when you are creating an incident. And the incident is only created when you are connecting Defender XDR stack or Microsoft 365. But the best thing here is it's for free. So to connecting Microsoft Defender XDR, only the alert perspective, not the raw data perspective, it's totally for free. So you don't have to pay for it. It's another session from me. And the same for Microsoft 365. So when you want to connect Microsoft 365 to Microsoft Sentinel, it's also for free. So do it and execute the playbook. So
Amazing. Yeah, perfect. We can wait some minutes more because maybe people have some questions. But I just need to mention the best question will be chosen by Hannes, and that person will win a voucher, exam voucher. For both Microsoft fundamental exams and also advanced role-based exams with 50% of discount. So don't miss this opportunity. We only have one question right now, and if you have any questions, just let us know. Otherwise, I think we can wrap up the session.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So I guess there is no more questions, and we've had only one question, and I guess it goes to Kafka Talmud. I hope I spell his or her name correctly. So please contact us, Kafka, on our social media. You can connect us on LinkedIn, and then we will send you the voucher of the exam, and I hope you can use it in the best way. Thank you so much again, Hannes. We were so happy to have you on this stage, and so hope to see you again on Microsoft Security stage. And yeah, have a great evening.
Thank you. And Kafka, one information from my side. Good luck for the exam, and also use Microsoft Learn to prepare for the exam. So it's the best way to do.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.